It's obviously been on an intag slash nuki binge of weird contraptions that kill. How about contraptions that annoy slash make environments really difficult to fight in? Of course, I'm talking about space lube. You can make space lube in any real concoction you want, but I thought of one that nukis can make that is very devious because it also again involves this weird side room. In this side room, we have a bucket, which buckets hold 250 units of reagents and are only a 2x2. While we're in here, we're also going to want to grab water. You can just left click the water tank once and that'll be just fine. You do not need to use much of the Chem Master, so we're just going to drag the water in. However, we actually only need 80 water, so very quickly we're just going to grab a large beaker, which we're going to need for the rest of this anyway, and we're going to take the water out and put it in the bucket. You can set the transfer amount to 100, so this is a lot less clicking. This doesn't require much use of the Chem Master. You can do all jug mixing for this, but just to start, we need iron and silicon, which you could just kind of leave the jugs here and just do jug mixes rather than using the Chem Master, because using the Chem Master does take away from meds. So you could do this if you're like not the agent. Either way, we need to put 15 iron and 15 silicon in a beaker, and we need to heat it up very quickly. And we're going to dispense the oxygen jug while that is waiting, because we need to also put oxygen in this bucket. We need to put 30 oxygen in the bucket. And we need to put all 30 of the mixed iron and silicon. This makes a product called Silicate, which when this is all mixed together, will make space lube. So now we have mixed all of our space lube together in one bucket. You can do this really quickly, and that makes 150 space lube. And we have 50 water in there as well, but you do not want to touch that. So that finishes the first step really quickly, but we still need to make fluoro for the foam, because lube without foam doesn't really spread all that much. Fluoro is a little bit more complicated. So we need carbon, hydrogen, sulfur, fluorine, and oxygen. You're going to also want to grab another large beaker just so we can mix this in here. Again, trying to avoid using the Chem Master as much as possible to avoid messing with a possible agent who is doing this. And in this, we need to mix 10 oxygen because we need to make sulfuric acid, 10 oxygen, 5 sulfur, and 5 hydrogen. We'll make the 15 sulfuric acid, and then you need to put in 20 fluorine and 20 carbon. So this is a pretty simple mix overall, but this will leave some waste in it, so you need to drag this back into the Chem Master and just extract the 50 fluoro itself, and now we have a lube bomb ready to go. So you could hold this in a shaker to save inventory space, or a normal beaker because it's only 50 units. But I'm going to go outside very quickly just to demonstrate how much lube this actually makes. It is an insane amount of lube that ends up getting generated from this. I'm sure you can make more, but oh my, like this is so difficult to deal with, and you can make it without really utilizing many important reagents, barely any at all. Most of this is water. And so you could make extras with extra beakers or jugs if you wanted. This is just showing the bucket. You would have to make a slightly smaller mix without the bucket, or just keep the extra reagents on you and use a lot of inventory space. But the bucket holds more than like anything. The bucket holds 250 units. So again, just before I do this, there's 150 lube in here, 50 water, and inside this beaker is 50 fluoro. You want to swap the transfer amount to 100 or 50. It doesn't matter, you can only fit 50 in there. And once we mix it, we are going to make a huge foam lube pile that will spread lube every single direction with hundreds of units of lube on each tile. If I get a chemical analysis goggles, you can see just how much gets made from this. There's 100 lube in the center, and this will spread outwards in each direction. This will cover any department-sized room easily. It'll cover entire maintenance halls. It's pretty much enough lube to fill in a department, make a department unwalkable. Again, if you don't know what lube does, if you do not have mag boots or no slips, or there's no gravity, you will slip on this. You can't just walk on it. So if I turn off my mag boots, you'll slip until you hit a solid object and can stand up again. So if you slip in a straight line like so, you can slip right over tables and keep on slipping. Why this gets incredibly broken, most people can't get access to no slips or mag boots, and turning off the gravity is something the station has to collectively decide and think about doing. And if somebody slips on it, you can essentially keep them perma-stunned. You could just grab them and keep pulling them, and they will never be able to stand up. You could just sit here and cut them to pieces, save ammo. You can see it's taking up more than an entire screen's worth of lube. And yes, I'm going to showcase how to deal with this very quickly. Water is really not a great option. I let this advanced mop generate halfway, and yeah, you can kind of clear a path even with an advanced mop, but it's very, very slow, and it doesn't always allow you to walk on it necessarily. If there's still lube in the puddle and you didn't fully clean it like that one, I would have slipped on it. And that could be really annoying if you don't have no slips, and could be really deceiving to other people. The best way is clean nades, which can be purchased at Cargo. Janitors have these. This just makes a giant foam spread just like the lube, but this spreads space cleaner instead. However, it only cleans the tiles that the foam actually touches. It doesn't spread the space cleaner quite the same. And you can see that this lube pile is so massive that even a perfect clean nade in the dead center where it detonated still only cleans the inner part and leaves probably about half the lube still up. And water is still slippery. Yes, people can now walk on it, but only parts of it are going to be watery. People are still going to end up slipping on the lube. It also seemingly like the lube will just keep spreading outwards. There is a finite amount, but it definitely, the foam duplicates the amount of lube in it by quite a lot, but there was also 150 units of lube in it. The best counter to this, other than trying to clean nade multiple, because you could just make 4 or 5 of these lube bombs easy as a nukie or as a chemist or anyone. It's really, really cheap to make giant lube bombs like this. You don't even need modular grenades. You just mix it in your hand. Honestly, the best way to counter this, especially if you're going up against war ops or like nukies that are utilizing this, just turn gravity off. If there's no gravity, you cannot slip on the lube. Yes, you can't move super well in no gravity situations, but that means the nukies will also be having the same restrictions as you. But if you truly have nothing else, you can spray a path, and again, you kind of run into the same issue where it's only cleaning a little amount, but it's better than nothing if you have no other option, and Space Cleaner is more readily available and more common than clean nades. Either way, that's pretty much it for this video. I'm sorry if you end up getting slipped by lube in a future round. Well, it's not like this wasn't popular before this, but nukies and syndicate agents, I feel like could use a little help right now. There's been a lot of security buffs, so I'm going to try to swing things back in the creative factor of just some ideas of how to help your nukie and syndicate game out. Thank you for watching.